Imagine being trapped in a confined space, forced to lie on your back with your knees pressed up against a metal ceiling. As the minutes tick by, you notice it's starting to get hotter. Your forehead beads with sweat, and your back becomes uncomfortably hot as you press against the metal beneath you. You can't move more than a few centimeters back and forth, and the air is getting hotter and hotter. The heat becomes unbearable until you can't stop yourself from screaming. Except nobody hears your screams. All they hear is the enraged bellow of a bull. Said to be entirely hollow and with a hatch in one side where condemned criminals would be forced in, the brazen bull was the brainchild of Perilaus of Athens and was apparently used to fearsome effect as it converted the screams of the dying men to the bellow of a bull. The most effective torture devices are the ones that shock you and leave you wondering how long you could hold out against such a horrendous fate. The bronze bull is one of those torture methods that truly captures your imagination, combing fire, enclosed spaces and the dark to truly horrify anyone who thinks about what it would have been like to be enclosed in the bull. Although the truth about this particular torture method is still up for debate, the ingenuity in creating such a device, whether or not it was used, is undeniable, and the impact it has had on our understanding of the socio-political setting of the ancient world is real. Torture in the Roman Empire, Brazen Bull Edition. Creating the bull. The bronze bull was known by a couple of different names, including the Sicilian bull, the brazen bull, or the bull of Phalaris, not Perilaus, the creator, but Phalaris, the tyrant of Sicily. It was allegedly used to torture and execute criminals, and was said to be the same size and shape as a fully grown bull, meaning that it had plenty of room in its belly to hold condemned men as they slowly roasted alive. According to the ancient Greek historian Diodorus of Sicily, a man called Perilaus of Athens dreamed up the idea of the bronze bull and presented it to the tyrant of Sicily, Phalaris. Phalaris was a tyrant in much more than just name, as he was known to enjoy torturing people in cruel ways. We don't know if he asked for the bull to be created according to his specifications, or whether Perilaus simply came up with the idea and brought it to Phalaris. But the Greek poet Pindar claimed that the bronze bull was Phalaris' favored torture device, and probably with good reason. Phalaris was also known as a cannibal who liked to eat babies, so the idea of using a metal bull to cook people alive was probably relatively tame for him. Legend has it that the head of the bull contained a series of tubes and stops that converted the screams of the dying criminal into the bellows of an infuriated bull, which was clearly far more enjoyable than listening to someone being slowly cooked alive. The person controlling the fire would have ultimate power over the person inside, as they could increase the flames and speed up their death, or keep it at a lower level and simply enjoy their screams as their skin peeled away in the roasting temperatures inside the bull. It's not an exact science when it comes to how long it would take to die in the bronze bull. Some people would say it could take hours, others claim as little as 10 minutes. It would all depend on how fierce the fire was, how large the person inside was, and a whole host of other factors. In all likelihood, though, the person trapped in the bronze bull would probably have passed out within the first 10 minutes or so, as they use up the oxygen and the heat would cause them to lose consciousness. As the metal heated up, the victim inside would endure extreme heat, burns, and then start to suffocate. People would probably die from shock or organ failure, as the heat grew too much for them to bear. This level of intense cruelty was nothing out of the ordinary for Phalaris, and the level of control that the torturer had showed that it wasn't just a device to kill people. It would be far quicker just to stab someone or cut their head off. The bronze bull was a form of entertainment. As well as having the bull designed to transform the screams of the dying into the bellowing of a bull, Phalaris is also said to have demanded that the bull be constructed in such a way that the smoke coming out from the bull would be heavily perfumed, rising in clouds of heady incense. Historians writing about the bronze bull said that once the door was opened, the victim's bones would be made into bracelets that the spectators could take home as trophies. The inventor of the bronze bull believed that he deserved a hefty reward for his gruesome invention, as his ingenuity meant that the screams of the dying would instead sound like the tenderest, most pathetic, most melodious of bellowings. Instead of being charmed, Phalaris was disgusted and decided to trick Perilaus into testing it for him. As Perilaus climbed into the belly of the bull, the hatch was slammed shut behind him and the fire quickly kindled beneath him. As the temperature climbed, so did his screams, transformed into the piteous cries of an infuriated animal. Phalaris opened the door before Perilaus perished, but apparently his stay of execution was only temporary. The story goes that Phalaris took Perilaus to the top of a hill before throwing him off. As for Phalaris himself, it's said that he was killed by the bronze bull when he was overthrown by Telemachus in 554 BC. The story of the bull doesn't stop here with Phalaris, though. According to some histories, the bronze bull was captured and removed from Acragas by the Carthaginians when they sacked the city in 406 BC and survived until the Romans conquered Carthage. The brazen bull in Rome. For a group of people credited with building aqueducts and beautifully straight roads, as well as defending their citizens to the hilt, the Romans were also incredibly fond of torture and inflicting pain on others. From the games in the Colosseum to ingenious ways to kill people without spilling a drop of blood, the Romans were always keen to find new torture methods. And it seems that when they came across the bronze bull, they may have been quick to adopt it, as they were already known to use animals as part of their torture. As part of the gladiatorial games, the Romans were well used to using lions, bears, and bulls, and so it doesn't take a wild leap of the imagination to see how the bronze bull would have been popular as well. It's not entirely certain if the brazen bull was ever used in the Roman Empire, since there's no solid archaeological evidence for its existence. Even so, the bronze bull was a famous enough invention that the famed orator and politician Cicero seems to have been familiar with the idea of the brazen bull. Cicero talks about it in a series of speeches called In Verum, where he says that the bronze bull proved how vicious Phalaris was as a tyrant in Sicily. The brazen bull could extend someone's suffering for as long as it was still entertaining, as the fire could be kept low enough to keep the person inside alive for an incredibly long time without fully killing them. Bloodthirsty audiences could enjoy the incense along with the sound of the bull, all the while knowing that someone who threatened the status quo was being punished for stepping out of line. And one of the most common targets for the Roman Emperor Nero was the Christian religion. Despite Constantine's adoption of the Holy Bible in the 4th century, early Romans weren't particularly fond of early Christians. According to Christian tradition, the bronze bull cropped up again in the early Roman Empire to get rid of a tricky saint called Saint Eustace. Eustace was roasted alive in the bronze bull, along with his wife and children, thanks to Emperor Hadrian, as he followed the Christian faith and refused to give it up and go back to worshipping the old gods. Christian iconography shows a later painting that depicts the moment where Eustace and his family are forced into a bronze bull through a hatch in the side for refusing to sacrifice to the old gods. Another Christian martyr who was sacrificed for his convictions was one Saint Antipas. Bishop of the Church of Pergamum, he preached Christian teachings and so sealed his fate. When he was confronted by the pagan priests, Antipas refused to give up his belief in the Christian religion. Enraged, the priests dragged him to the temple of Artemis, where he was allegedly thrown into a red-hot copper bull and died for his beliefs. Later representations of the bull. The story of the bronze bull clearly captured many imaginations over the centuries, with depictions of the tale of Perilaus and Phalaris cropping up in various artists' work, including a graphic engraving by Hans Bergmeier where he shows various torture methods, including someone getting turned on the rack. To the left of his engraving, you can see a man's head sticking out from the back of the bronze bull, with the flames of the fire underneath it licking all around the bull, as well as thick plumes of smoke rising from it. And it's not just paintings and other imagery. The bronze bull has been referenced throughout time, from the medieval period, where some people think the Iron Maiden was modeled on it, to more modern novels. A psychological horror novel by Thomas Harris called Hannibal Rising includes a section where Hannibal uses a miniature version of the bronze bull to punish a war criminal. The 2011 film Immortals retells the story of Theseus and includes a scene where the Oracle sisters are slowly being cooked alive in the bronze bull. Outro. We can't say for certain if the bronze bull ever existed, as there is no solid archaeological evidence of the bull, or if it was simply a fable that was told to strike fear into people's hearts. It's possible that the so-called Sicilian bull was only a tale that people would tell each other to show just how cruel the Greeks were. But even so, it shows the depravity that we as a human race can dream up. The bull serves as a chilling reminder of how far rulers will go to stay on top, and shows the depths to which we can sink. Fortunately, the bull is a relic of the ancient world, but one that still echoes throughout history as a reminder of how cruel people can be, and reminds us that the horrors aren't outside. They're within us.